This is Keeping Up with Senior Solutions. We're happy to be here today with Vicki Mastroianni and Susan Triplett. These are two of the hardest working people in our organization. Senior Solutions has really hit the ground running this past year, adding to our volunteer services and our volunteers' numbers. So they've got new programs they have been working on, and all kinds of interesting things are happening, and we want to share some of those with you. So sit back, enjoy the show, and learn all about what we're doing at Senior Solutions with our volunteer visitors and other things. Okay, so how are you ladies doing?
Wonderful, and you?
Doing good. Doing good.
I'm still kicking.
I'm trying to remember when I was here last, so I don't repeat myself, but it seems like a long time ago, right?
It's been a long time, and I think the last show we did with our volunteers, we did it when we had Gary and George.
Okay.
We had a whole bunch of us on like a round table. That's the last one I remember. So we're overdue.
Okay, great.
So Vicki, would you like to introduce some of the different things you're doing? And of course, Susan too.
Well, I'm just going to give an overview, sort of catch up where we are now. And then we can just, because we have quite a few things going on. So I want to make sure they're all covered. So yes, I'm Vicki Mastroianni, and I'm delighted to be here. The program is actually close to its 5th year. I think September is our 5th year in. So, and I'm so blessed to have been a part of it from day one. I mean, that's really, where my heart shines. We started our volunteer program with like 4 volunteers, and over the course of time, we're up to almost 70. I think last year, our numbers, in spite of COVID, we had over 5,200 hours that our volunteers contributed to somewhere around 150 recipients. So
that's impressive, really impressive.
It speaks for itself. It speaks for itself. And it's all to do with volunteers, their willingness to give and serve, and their commitment. I can't say enough about these people that we work with. And I'm really happy that Susan's here and she's nodding, because she witnessed some of the wonderful contributions, commitments that our volunteers are providing, that she can talk about with our Vets of Vet program. So we first began with a friendly visitor program, because that seemed to be the main need, companionship, social isolation. It was very, very much in demand, and as it still is. But as time went on, we identified many other needs that folks have out there in the community. And, our volunteers have the skills and abilities to provide support for those needs as well. So our program has grown to add many different components to it, which we're talking about. And we like to look at our program now as a multi-service volunteer program that utilizes the skills and talents of our volunteers in our community, and provides those skills and talents to help with the needs of the recipients. So it's a nice match. It really is a win-win situation.
Yeah, it seems like every time there's a new challenge and you meet it, something else will pop up. And I just want to let everybody know that not only do you figure out how to be able to carefully and quickly be flexible, but our volunteers are always more than willing to pitch in. Sometimes I think they're the instigators. They're like, can I do more? Can I help more people? Do other types of needs pop up that we don't know about that maybe we could help with? Unbelievable. They are remarkable.
And, you know, for volunteers to want to be engaged, they want to be doing things that they like to do. And we tell our volunteers, if you don't wake up in the morning and look forward to your task for the day, then it's not a good match, because we really want to see our volunteers, you know, just shine with the experiences that they have and rewards that they receive. So I'm just going to name a few of the programs that we've sort of added to, you know, volunteer program, and then we can talk about some of them. I know Susan can talk about our Vet to Vet program. She's been working really hard on that. She has a lot of great things to say.
No kidding.
So, you know, we do have our Vet to Vet program. It's a veterans working just with veterans, which is, again, a need that we've identified. We have volunteers that help with paperwork, with paying bills, with helping with computers, with maybe a little bit of cooking. We have respite volunteers that actually provide respite time for caregivers to relieve them of their tremendous burdens and duties that they have to carry. We have an errands program, and Patty's not here with us, but she coordinates that, Patty Grimm and Green, for the many referrals that come in for doctor's visits, shopping. It's meant for folks that are unable to take public transportation for whatever reason. Maybe they need one-on-one support while they're shopping, and that's what our volunteers do. We are also working closely with our wellness program as well. Some of our volunteers do Tai Chi and help with Meals on Wheels. I mean, it just goes on and on what the volunteers are capable of doing. So with that said, oh, and one last program that I wanted to make is, and Susan can talk about this as well, is, you know, we're very committed to finding some services for our caregivers. We want to create, we want to be able to be part of the problem solutions. I know we can't solve it all, but we want to be part of the solution. And so we have a memory cafe that we're going to be hosting on a monthly basis, both in Brattleboro, Springfield, and White River. Well, White River we're working on, but definitely have Springfield and Brattleboro in place. And we also have a program that's called an Americorps program. It's a government program, federal program that we received an award for, that will be taking place September 1st. And that program, it's an Americorps program. We refer to them as the troops coming into our area to take care of the needs of our caregivers. They will be working with caregivers to give them the relief they need, maybe provide 4 to 5 hours of time to each caregiver. So there's a lot more details to that, but that's going in addition to what we're doing. And that's
you're going to need extra space on your computer to keep track of all of this.
So I think I've said enough. I'm going to hand this over to Susan, who can talk about the memory cafes and the Vet to Vet program as well. But so
great.
Thank
you. And we'll circle back, and I'm sure we're going to go around and around and keep picking up threads. But Susan, we need to give you a chance to jump in here and start talking about the different Vet to Vet and volunteer programs that you are working so hard on.
Absolutely. So I'm running the Vet to Vet program, which is a program that matches veterans with other veterans. It's a program of companionship, friendship, outings. The first step is, finding the need, finding the volunteers, and then we really work hard to match people with the right interests. A lot of it is asking questions, what would you like out of a volunteer? And same with the recipient, well, what would you like? And the volunteer as well. And so we really work hard matching somebody. For example, I just had a 93-year-old that we matched with somebody he had actually known before. And I called him just to check in, and he told me that his life feels complete now, that this has changed his life at 93, being on hospice, not knowing how much more time he has, and to have somebody to take him out to lunch has meant more to him than we'll ever know.
Yeah. You know, that makes you want to cry. It really
Oh,
does.
I have plenty of times. Yes.
But, unbelievable. That's great.
But yeah, so I'm doing a lot of outreach now. I'm getting into the senior centers. I've done a presentation at Bugby. And on May 11th, I'll be at the Thompson Center at 1:00. And then I'm doing, Patty's working with me, our other volunteer that Vicki had mentioned. We're hosting a meet and greet at the Heartland American Legion on May 20th. It's from 5 to 7. It's in conjunction with Project New Hope, which is an organization that provides services for veterans, such as a food pantry, clothing. They do military retreats. And again, these are all free services for veterans.
And who should be coming to this event?
Anybody who might be interested in volunteering, if you're interested in becoming a recipient. Also, we're really reaching out to our veteran volunteers and asking them to come as well. That way they can share their stories of what it means to be a volunteer, what their roles have been. It just gives a different perspective on what the program has meant for them and what it could do, you know, for somebody who's thinking about, oh, you know, maybe I want to volunteer.
Yeah, when they hear the experiences that some of our volunteers are willing to share, it really is, very helpful to them. And it gives them a more clear idea of what they might be volunteering to do. Absolutely. And I just want to throw in something in that May is Older Americans Month. And we also have Memorial Day in May. So I'm hoping that this program is really going to resonate with the public as a way to not just support, people who are 60 and over, but to also support our veterans and celebrate. I think celebrating is so important. So I think that meet and greet that we're going to be having is going to attract a lot of people and it will stimulate interest. And that's what we need. So yeah, I think this is exciting.
Just one other thing I was going to mention, that this morning, I just started a new partnership with the Vet Center. And I work with Morgana, the outreach. And so on Wednesday mornings, we do a farmer's market. And my understanding is that it was just for veterans, but it is open to anybody. It's free farmer's market from 10 until 12 at the Liston Center in White River Junction, Vermont. You stay in your car and we bag up all the groceries for you and put them in your car for you.
Wow.
And this happens every Wednesday, rain or shine.
Nice. Very nice. Good. Yeah.
I just wanted to add one thing about our Vet to Vet program. The Vet to Vet program began in 2018, Joann. You and I worked on that.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, 2018. Yeah.
And it began in Windham County because that was where the interest was. And the American Legion Post 5 actually adopted the program. So because of the American Legion, it was well in Windham County. And the program grew rapidly. I think we had like 13 veterans visiting other veterans within the year. And then COVID hit.
Yeah.
So things slowed down, obviously, like everything else. Our veterans did not. They were committed. They worked right through the crisis and like it was just another war to win. Yeah. And that's quote, that's what they've said. But the Upper Valley, where Susan is working on, didn't even hear the program. So Susan's has done a marvelous job getting the word out and bringing our two counties together. We serve southeastern Vermont, Windsor-Wyndham County. So that's what our goal is for the veteran program, is to spread it out.
That's right. There are veterans in every nook and cranny.
Yeah.
And even our general population is sometimes hard to reach because of the rural location of many of us. But, the various volunteers that we have are not shy about talking about the program. And that is really inspirational. And also some of our other volunteers in other capacities, like senior companions, friendly visitors and stuff, they all support each other. It's not like the vet to vet volunteers are having a contest against the friendly visitors. No, everybody works well together and is very supportive. And I'm going to put another plug in for our volunteers, because they were the ones who were chosen by the state marketing campaign for the COVID vaccine to be featured on the professionally done television commercial testimonial of why they opted to get the vaccine. And I'm telling you that people all over the state couldn't get over what a wonderful commercial piece that was, because our volunteers are so passionate and so real. And it really was very, very impactful. And they did a wonderful job. So I just had to throw that in there.
Yeah. We've had our volunteers participate in, our state house. There was a tour that we had, and I think it was the senior companions actually, where we were actually represented there at the state house, which was,
Wow.
just a welcome. Volunteers have joined in on, decision making all throughout our agency. So they're a big part of the agency. They're part of our strategic plan. They are the reason that we're reach out beyond our staff need. They're
right.
extend our services throughout our community. They're amazing. So,
I was going to ask Susan a question about the fact that Senior Solutions is not, quote, running the Vet to Vet program. We do have a Veterans Advisory Council, correct?
It's slowed down a little bit, but it's in the making. Yeah.
Okay, so that will be probably after COVID. It's going to take a little bit of time to rebuild and re-energize everyone. But I think it is important for the public to know that while we do a lot of, the administrative work and the vision and setting up the meetings and so forth, we really try to follow the guidance of our veterans. And the fact that all of the volunteer programs do simulate our general Senior Solutions protocol, which is person-centered, which is why you guys work so hard to match people and to let them do what they feel is right for them to do when they visit, whether it's shopping or gardening or whatever. We don't tell people what to do. We just try to make it possible for them to stay connected
and become friends. Become friends, really. That's
absolutely
genuinely friends.
That's right, which is a benefit in and of itself for good health.
Right.
With the advisory council, just one point is that during this meet and greet, it'll also be a good time to educate everybody about the advisory council. For example, at my farmer's market today, I met a veteran and he said he had heard about it, and so I filled him in on it, and he said, well, oh, I would join that once I let him know about it. So I have somebody now in mind, and he's coming to this event as well. So he's heard about it, plus he's coming to this event. I think with him, he's already a volunteer with the vet center. I think it'll be a really good partnership for him to also let other veterans know that, yeah, I'm interested in this as well, and we can get those numbers up again, because it is really important for the veterans to have their voice be heard and them guide the program, like you were saying, where they are the ones that say, oh, well, maybe this would work, maybe this wouldn't work, just for their role, their suggestions. I'm always open for suggestions and advice from my veterans, for sure.
It was, we were able to identify that Senior Solutions staff, the way we go about helping folks isn't really in sync with the way that I like to do things. So again, having the American Legion as sort of the to help guide us, it was suggested while we were working with them that we an advisory council made up of veterans that could direct the program and also, be able to communicate better with veterans on getting involved with the program, rather than us say, are you lonely? Do you need help? That doesn't go with veterans. No. So we learned that we need to delegate this responsibility to the veterans and have them create a program. And maintain that culture. That culture is amazing. It's beyond anything we could create.
That's so inspiring. Yeah. And I think, is there anything else you want to add about the Vet to Vet program? At the moment, you can always pop back in, but I wanted to ask, go ahead.
The only other thing is, in June, I'm doing a presentation at the VA, which I'm super excited about, because it's going to be a group of like 100 social workers, and they're the ones like frontline that meet a lot of our veterans. And so I think it's going to be wonderful to finally get into the VA, get those contacts in the VA, and again, Upper Valley, but they're also all around the state, people in the VA. So I think that is going to be a big game changer as well once the VA gets on board, because we have the vet center and they're linked with the VA, but they're still kind of very separate.
Terrific. That's
our
great.
ultimate goal is to get volunteers, to have veterans invest in volunteering and become a buddy to those recipients that we identify, especially through that kind of a presentation. We will identify veterans that would love to have a buddy. So that's the goal. It's just volunteer who's going to be a support to another veteran volunteer, a veteran buddy.
That buddy system is key. You're right. Yeah. And we all want a buddy. We all need friends, every one of us. So I'm really thrilled that this program is taken off so well. I'm very happy. Makes me feel good. I don't know. And I'm not even a veteran, but I like it. So you were telling us about senior companions. Is there's something new in the senior companion world? Yes.
Well, Senior Companion is also part of the Americorps program that I spoke about. And what makes these a little different is that these volunteers, although they have to meet certain criteria, they do receive an hourly stipend, which helps the volunteers afford to volunteer, in addition to mileage reimbursement. With the Senior Companion program, there's an age and an income and an hourly requirement. So that takes a little bit more time, to get folks invested and involved.
Sure.
With our Americorps program, there are no income guidelines. There's no criteria except that maybe pass a background check and be over 18. And even the background checks are very flexible. So we don't want to discourage anywhere. We're encouraging people of all ages who would like to become involved in helping a caregiver with their loved one, so that the caregiver can be free to maybe do things that they couldn't. We met with a caregiver yesterday who said that she hasn't seen her daughter for years. She hasn't been able to leave her home. She hasn't been able to ride a horse. Years we're talking. So that's the role of our Americorps members and even our respite volunteers, is to be there in the home for recipients who need supervision so that the caregiver can have some free time. And we provide tremendous training.
Yeah.
For these volunteers. We have an 8-hour training course that we put together. There's ongoing support. All of our staff have our resources for our volunteers in terms of their involvement here. And our goal is to make that volunteer comfortable in that home, not to become a medic, not to become, you know, someone that has to know, you know, to be a specialist in dementia, just so that they're comfortable, they understand the nature of the individual that they're dealing with, and they're comfortable.
Yeah, comfortable so that they can develop a relationship of trust and so forth with the person they're caring for, as well as the caregiver. Because if that caregiver doesn't feel comfortable leaving the home for several hours, it's not going to work. So when they know somebody's there who understands the situation, has been trained in whatever disability or illness the loved one is suffering from, then they can go out of the house and rejoin some of the community activities that they had to let go. And they'll be healthier. And if they're healthier and happier, they'll be able to take care of their loved one much better.
It's also for that, the loved one or the care receiver. What our person yesterday was saying is that her husband, who is the care receiver, hasn't seen anyone but her in years.
Oh my goodness.
It's to offer some, you know, a new face to the care receiver, someone that might have more in common with them in terms of gender or what, you know, interest, which, you know, we know that the individual may be suffering with some sort of physical disabilities or conditions, dementia, but if they could also be suffering with depression because of being socially isolated, and that we can help with.
There you go. There you go. Because that couple, both the person that is the caregiver and the person they're taking care of, they're both suffering together from isolation. And this is wonderful. You know, it's such a shame that we had the double whammy of a loss of a lot of in-home healthcare providers. And together with the COVID pandemic, it really cut a lot of people off from socialization.
Made things worse.
Yes.
Made things worse, for sure.
Great.
So leads us into our memory cafe that I did chat about, just to give you an idea of the need that the caregivers that exist that are looking for some support. The memory cafes are actual events. They're a couple of hours long. They happen on a monthly basis. They're an event that is planned for caregivers and their loved ones in an environment that is safe, trusting, non-judgmental, and fun. It's all about. So a caregiver can bring their loved one, and then there will be volunteers that are be available to interact with their loved ones, provide activities, maybe do some music while the caregivers are off into a group discussion that might be more, you know, enriching for them, and they might be sharing resources, and we'll have facilitators that are helping with the group discussion. You know, so there's something for everyone together and to share a lunch, and you know, our kind of,
it sounds wonderfully supportive. Wonderfully supportive. And you know, no matter what stage you're in as a caregiver, this can only help. I can't wait for 3 years down the line when we hear about all the successes and all the benefits that people are getting from these programs. It's just, you know, I'm so excited.
You know, we hear it over and over again. The caregiver doesn't want to go to a restaurant because their individual might be incontinent, or they might have behaviors that are unpredictable because of the dementia, or they may need to have certain supervision. So in case they get up and wander, I mean, that's the environment where memory cafes create so that the caregiver can feel comfortable. And so, you know, we have just sent out a mailing, Susan did on Monday, to 40 caregivers that are signed up just for Windham County.
Wow.
We hope everybody comes. Wow, that's a large group. It will be at the Brattleboro American Legion.
Mhm.
Thanks to them, they've donated for us, and it will be in their big dining hall. So there's
Great.
room to separate and come together comfortably.
Nice.
Susan, maybe you can just talk about Springfield. What's going on for Springfield?
Yeah, just on the whole line of the whole volunteer thing, like when we match volunteers, same thing goes with the caregivers. Like I've created a whole list of questions that we will ask our caregivers, like because if we are providing food, we really want to custom these memory cafes to both them and their loved ones. So, we'll be asking, obviously, can this person eat without supervision? What types of food, dislikes? And again, we really want the caregivers' input on activities, music, what they want to see out of this program. And that's really what we're hoping for with this first one on May 18th. Just that all of us at the end just be like, all right, well, what worked? What didn't work? And then for me, it'll be nice because then in June, I'm planning on doing another memory cafe in Springfield. As of right now, it's going to be at the Congregational Church. We're looking at the possibility of a lunch one from 11 to 3, or 11 to 1, I meant, or 1 to 3. The 1 to 3, we would just provide a snack. Because of COVID, the church used to do meals. And so I need to touch base with them again and see if they do a meal, because then we could piggyback on that and have a meal and do the 11 to 1. But again, we are planning on the same thing. We're going to, send out mailings. I'm going to follow up with phone calls, get on the phone with all these caregivers and just really listen to them and have them tell me, what they need. That's the biggest thing here, is that we're asking them, what can we do for you? And how can we get you there? Like, what are the obstacles? That's the biggest thing. What are the obstacles of you coming to one of these cafes?
Sure. And I think you're right, because a lot of times, a lot of the things that I'm reading, one of the main things that caregivers really lack is being listened to. Mm-hmm. And this is a wonderful way to overcome some of that. Yeah. Great. Sounds like you guys are doing great, making great strides.
These will be ongoing. Yeah. These will
and then
be
eventually, and then eventually we're hoping White River Junction area is next.
Yeah.
Great. Well, and I know you have lots of plans. It sounds like there's all kinds of events that are happening. And I think probably some of this is in our May newsletter. So I'm going to encourage the listening audience to go to our website, which is www.seniorsolutions.vt.org, and sign up for our monthly newsletter so they can find out ahead of time where to go and how to get into some of these activities, how to find somebody who needs a visitor, or how to volunteer to be a visitor, and how to take part in all of these wonderful activities. We can't solve all the problems, but it certainly isn't for a lack of trying. And we can do our little bit in our little corner of Vermont and try to really let our population know that we don't know everything, but we're aware of a lot of the issues, and we want to help, and we're here to help. So people can refer if they have a loved one who needs a visitor or needs to, have some help there. Or if you want to be a visitor or be on the Veteran Advisory Council, to contact us and make sure that they let us hear their voices. Because only if we know what they need can we help. Like Vicki was saying, the volunteers do all kinds of services. during COVID, they did like telephone contacts.
Right.
Some of the people, so I know that some of the veterans took their buddies fishing, took hikes in the woods, worked outside. These are volunteers, many of whom are a little bit older, but they're very vital. These are people who want to serve. These are people who care. And I'm very grateful for them. And speaking of being grateful, I think there's an event coming up for the volunteers.
Yes. Yes. On the 25th of May, we have a volunteer recognition and celebration of Older Americans Month.
Yay.
As well. Yes. So we're creating a big shindig that will be taking place in Springfield at the Nolan Murray Center, which is above the Senior Solutions office. And anyone that is in the listening area that has volunteered with us or is volunteering, please feel free to come and join us.
I've been to some of these volunteer appreciation events, and they are fun. They really are. And you get, unbelievable. Yeah, it's so nice because you get to see people you haven't seen for a while, get to share experiences, and hopefully, and so far so good, we are not shy about expressing our gratitude.
No. We're hoping, and this may or may not be, but we're hoping we've invited Senator Sanders to join us via Zoom because he just loves older Vermonters and volunteers, and we want to give him an opportunity to be part of this event. We've got our fingers crossed. We've got some really wonderful music. It's a nice duet, husband and wife.
Oh, nice.
Will be entertaining us. They're very talented. And good food always. We have fun that we've got planned, and so yeah, it's a couple of hours from 11 to 1.
And what's the date?
11 to 1 on May 25th.
Good.
And it's for our volunteers and older Vermonters.
Yeah.
I mean, Older Americans Month. So
that's wonderful.
So maybe we can just announce dates too, because it really wasn't clear. On the 18th of May, 11 to 1, we have our memory cafe at the Brattleboro Legion.
Yeah, the American Legion. That's right. That's 11 to 1, right?
Yep. If you're a caregiver and are in that area and can get to the event, do a number to call. I'm not quite sure what you have for contact information, Joanne, that we're going to show, but there'll be a number that you can call to let us know if you plan to come.
Okay.
And then 20th, and Susan, I'll let you give the details about that in terms of the time and place. Your Vet's Vet on the 20th.
Again, it's at the Heartland Legion, 2 Legion Road in Heartland, Vermont. And that is May 20th, and it's from 5 to 7. Again, it's a dinner meet and greet with Project New Hope. Great. And there is RSVP, there's my number, plus there's an email as well that we'll provide with the flyer.
Good, great. All right, sounds like May is going to be hopping. Good, get everybody all jazzed up. Be nice. Okay, well, I don't think there's anything else we need to cover. I'm sure I'm forgetting something. I always forget something, which is why we always have another show planned. So looks like a good round of events. And I just want to remember to say, oh yeah, with the Senior Companion Program that we mentioned, the administration of that has changed, correct? It's being overseen by AgeWell now.
Yes.
And I think that they're much more easy to work with. So
they're wonderful to work with.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
very. So there's still a lot of paperwork to go through.
Yeah, let's not kid ourselves.
The rest of it is all good and fun and
Yeah.
enjoyable. So
And they understand because, you know, they have their own senior companions too. So they've been
Right.
through the drill. And so that works out well. And I don't know what contact we should give for the event on the 18th. We could have,
we have our flyer, and there is a email or an email address that folks
okay, yeah.
RSVP to.
Oh,
So
good.
I'll be sending that out by tomorrow.
That's good. That's
So-
good, because I'm looking in the newsletter
Okay.
and I didn't see any RSVP information in the newsletter, but that's all right. They'll get it through your flyer. And
And-
I'll remind people.
Right. We're going to show the line number at some point as well, correct? Yeah. So for the Americorps members, if anyone is interested in learning more about the Americorps program, now is the time to connect with us, because
Yeah,
we need time to help folks understand the program, because it's a kind of a huge learning
Right.
curve for all of
It's-
us.
yeah.
Free to give us a call. We can set up an informational meeting, have what information we have, and get you ready.
Yeah, because it's kicking off, what, September 1st?
September 1st.
Yeah,
And again,
Good.
it's a program that's to help caregivers, and it does have a generous stipend, and also an educational component to it. So there is some monetary, gain with it. And the commitment, 5 to 8 hours a week. So there is a time commitment.
that's not bad. That's pretty
No.
good. All right.
The
Good news.
overall-
Good news.
So-
And on there's also a veteran component of it. So 20% of the volunteers that we have will be veterans as well.
Great, great.
Yes.
Yeah, remember that. Yes, that's what they're trying to help us in our rural area and for underserved community members. So that is fabulous. Well, we never forget our veterans, quite honestly. How could we? We don't forget them, and we thank them, and we thank all our volunteers. And frankly, we're thanking all of older Vermonters, because I say this every once in a while. When I'm driving down the road and the construction workers are there with the flags and digging up the sides and putting the stripes down, a good 80% of them have gray or white hair. So I know that the older Vermonters don't sit in the rocking chair and while away the day. Most of them, most of us, are busy contributing to our families, our communities, our workplace, and beyond. And we thank all of you out there who are doing your part to make life better for every Vermonter. And we hope that we'll be able to help all of you as you age to remain in your home, healthy, safe, and in dignity. We're right here for you, and I know you're out there for us. So thank you, Vicki and Susan, for bringing this important information about our volunteers, our veteran components, and best of luck with the new programs. And if I can be of any help, give me a call.
Thank you, Joanne. You've been wonderful.
Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody out there. We'll see you again soon. Bye from Keeping Up with Senior Solutions.